But welcome to this live. For those of you watching the replay, welcome to this live. Today we are talking about how to spot red flags in a guy. All right. If you are dating, if you're in a relationship, this is for you. If you're still in a relationship and you believe that there's some red flags, you believe that this person is toxic or narcissistic, however, you're not sure, you want a little bit of clarity, like, are these red flags? Is this something I should be concerned about? This topic today is for you. Or if you've already come out of a relationship, however, you're questioning, did I make the right decision to leave? Should I stay out of it? Should I go back? If you're ready to date, right, you want to be more clear on what do red flags look like? Like, how do I spot them so I don't end up in a situation like that again? Oh, I only have one child and she's 10. All right, a 10-year-old, nice. All right, so for those of you who are new here, my name is Nailah Abdullah. Temi, I think you're new. Are you new to me? My name is Nailah Abdullah. I'm a mental health therapist turned toxic relationship coach. I'm also the founder of Thrive, and that's my exclusive community where I teach and support women to heal, to rebuild themselves so they don't stay mentally stuck in the aftermath of a toxic or narcissistic relationship. So if that sounds like you are interested in more support, I have all of my information. I can send it to you. Just comment below the word Thrive if you're interested in some information, and I will personally DM you all the information you need to look into seeing if it's a good fit for you. All right. So the first red flag I want to teach you how to spot is they are not moved by your pain. So in cases with toxic or narcissistic relationships, and before I go into that, let me just say this. I know we often talk about toxic and narcissistic relationships. However, I want you to kind of shift your mindset to think that I'm not here to really diagnose anyone. I want to make sure this person is right for me. Okay? Because what I often hear people, well, are they narcissistic? Are they not? Really, it doesn't matter. Really, we want to be in a space where we know how to spot red flags or not, right? So the first thing is, one of the red flags I want you to be aware of is when that person is not moved by your pain, okay? So you're going through maybe a conflict, a disagreement, something, you are hurt, right? They've done something or said something that was painful to you, and they're not moved by your pain. They're not bothered, right? They're not responding to it. They're not changing their behavior. Now, I'll give you an example. I was in a narcissistic relationship for 10 years. A couple of those years were marriage. And one of the things I experienced, and many of my other clients have shared this as well, is they would see the person actually either laughing or smirking when you are in pain, right? When you are crying, when you are sad, right? Because of something they have done or said. That is a major red flag. And that is something I would say you actually need to run, right? There's some red flags. There's some character flaws in people that you can say, okay, maybe I can work around that, or I can at least present it to them and allow them to make the necessary changes in their behavior. But when you see someone smirking at your pain or laughing at your pain, and it's a continuous thing and you're bringing it up to them and they're not making a change, that is a red flag to run. Okay? It is not normal. It is not healthy that if you explain something to someone that what they're doing is hurting you and they see it, they hear it from you, they see it in you, they see the tears, they see the pain, and they're not making any change, that is a major red flag. The next red flag is that they don't own their own flaws. They don't take accountability. Right? So again, you have a disagreement or there's something that they did and you bring it to them and they are not at any time willing to say, I was wrong. And if they do, you maybe had to beat it out of them. Not literally, right? But you had to beat it out of them. You had to beg it out of them. You had to keep talking and talking. And when they do actually own up to it, it's very minimized. They minimize how their behavior affected you. Well, it wasn't that serious, but okay, all right, I won't do it again. Right? It's not a genuine, sincere, I'm sorry this hurt you. Even if they don't necessarily see it your way initially, right? Because we're all different. But they still own up like, okay, I could see how that maybe have made you feel this way. I'll change the way I approach it, or whatever it is. You can sense the difference between trying to force it out of them versus a genuine, like, I don't want to have conflict, I don't want to hurt you, I'm sorry, I did go wrong in that area, I could have done it a little bit different, right? Taking accountability. People who are toxic, narcissistic, manipulative, they do not ever want to take accountability for their flaws. For those of you who are just coming in, welcome. We are talking about how to spot red flags in a guy. So this is for my ladies especially. And in the comments below, you'll see Comment Thrive to join my community. That is my exclusive community where I teach and support women how to heal in the aftermath of a toxic and narcissistic relationship so that you do not remain mentally stuck. Many people are coming out of toxic relationships or want to come out, but mentally they are still stuck. They're still angry, they're still sad, they're still bitter, they still don't trust themselves, they still are ruminating a lot about what has happened to them. They're afraid to get into new relationships. That is still being mentally stuck, and that is what I help women do. So if you're interested in getting support around that, even this particular topic we're talking about today, I have a master class specifically on identifying red flags along with many other master classes. It's $47 a month, cancel at any time, so it's no strings attached. But you can get full support, again, master classes, coaching, community, etc. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and comment Thrive below, and I will send you, personally DM you to send you more information. So the next point here is about spotting a red flag, is they throw a tantrum when they don't get their own way, okay? And you may say, okay, Nailah, what's a tantrum? We know what a tantrum looks like in a child. An adult tantrum, when it comes to people who have toxic, destructive personalities, and just let's just say they're emotionally highly immature, they're emotionally underdeveloped, and they're people who can become very successful, be very intellectually developed, but emotionally they're like a toddler. Okay, and that's actually a very common trait of narcissists. But again, we're not here to diagnose anyone. So whether they're narcissistic or not, there are people out there who can present very developed, very mature, but they're emotionally underdeveloped. And when they don't get their own way, they throw a tantrum. So a tantrum in an adult that is emotionally underdeveloped, that can look like, let's say you say no to them for something. They may try to sabotage you. They may become very mean. I can recall in my own personal experience in my relationship, again, it was a 10-year relationship from about 20 to 30. I'm now 38, so quite some time ago. So in my early 20s, going into my first apartment, I had to buy a refrigerator. And I'd never made a purchase like that before. I had to get a credit card to put it on. And I took my partner with me at that time there. And I forgot what happened. We had some type of conflict, and he decided he wasn't going to go. Now, I really needed a refrigerator, as you can imagine. And for me, I believe that even if you're having a conflict, your partner is your partner, right? Even if it's a friend, even if we have a disagreement, you need me, I have your back. We'll deal with the issues later, right? But he wanted to stress me out, to punish me. That's basically what they want to do. The tantrum is to punish you. So they throw a tantrum. They're not happy with the fact that you upset them or you said no to them about something, whatever it is. They throw a tantrum and they retaliate with trying to punish you. So his attempt to punish me was not to help me in this new step that I was going to take as a young woman. And then he ended up still coming. I think he brought one of his parents. But he was being very mean. He was still trying to argue in the store. And I remember me and the parent was looking at him like, what are you doing? We're here to focus on picking the right fridge for her. We need to make sure it's the right size for her small apartment. We need to help her apply for the credit card. And mind you, my parents are Caribbean. I was living in the U.S. I'm born in the U.S., lived mostly in the U.S., but my parents are Caribbean, and most of my family was away from me at that time. So he was my family, and his family was my family at that time. So I was somewhat depending on them to kind of help me and guide me through this process. And I'm saying that to say that even when you are in a vulnerable state, they will still try to punish you because they feel like, well, I got you now. You need me, and now I'm going to punish you and hurt you. That is an adult tantrum, right? Because they don't get their way, they're going to try to be mean and try to sabotage you. And there's a difference between being disappointed and upset versus being vindictive, right? And throwing a tantrum. And this is how these people behave. So that is a major red flag when they cannot handle disappointment. They cannot handle that maybe you said something to deny them of something they wanted, or you upset them or whatever it is, that they become so mean that they try to hurt you. I remember someone shared with me a time that the mother-in-law tried to cause some issues in the person's business because there was a disagreement, right? Even to get police involved, right? That's far-fetched, right? You should be able to have a disagreement with someone without them trying to then come and hurt you, right? Now, a lot of times these people are cowards. They know they're wrong, so they may try to do it in a very sneaky way, but pay attention to that. Pay attention to how the person responds to you when they are disappointed with a decision that you made that's maybe that they don't agree with, right? That you've denied them of something, or there's some type of conflict or disagreement between the two of you. Let's see how far they go with their disappointment. Do they just stay at disappointment and yes, maybe be upset for a while, or do they become mean and give you the silent treatment for a long time, or try to do things to hurt you, or to withhold things to hurt you, right? Not give you affection, for long periods of time, ignore you for long periods of time, right? That is a sign of an adult tantrum, and that's something to be aware of. The next point I wanted to share with you about spotting a red flag is that they become disrespectful, mean, or abusive to others. Yes, pay attention to others, okay? We have to make sure that we maintain a certain level of integrity. Just because someone is nice to you, that shouldn't be your only requirement on judging them and their character, okay? Also pay attention to how they treat others. Because you will notice sometimes these people, they may love bomb you, they may flood you with all the attention and love that you want. But look at how they treat others. Are they lying to other people a lot? Are they being sneaky? Are they being manipulative? Are they being aggressive? Are they trying to intimidate others? Are they trying to bully others? Pay attention to that. Because a lot of times they believe that as long as I'm not doing it to you, it's no big deal. And that's where we go wrong. We ignore that. We ignore it. I have, unfortunately, narcissistic people in my family as well. So besides me being a mental health therapist, besides me being in a 10-year narcissistic relationship, working with other people, reading tons of books and literature, I also have narcissistic people in my family. So I am an expert in several different areas. One of the things I learned from one of the narcissists in my family, he said to me, "Nailah, I prey on the weak." He literally said those words out of his mouth. I prey on the weak. Now, the reason he opened up to me is because that was a time where I was down. I was vulnerable. And you have to pay attention to that, because they will tell on themselves. They will speak about their real character. They will show it. And oftentimes they feel safe showing it to you and exposing themselves when they're doing it to someone else, because in their mind, in their lack of integrity, they're like, well, as long as I'm not doing it to you, it shouldn't bother you, right? I'm doing it to someone else, right? So when they feel like it's safe is when they're doing it to others and not doing it to you. That's why he felt comfortable to say, I prey on the weak, because he was talking about other people. And there was one other time, when they think that you're down and out, when they see that you are in a space or a season in your life where you are down, where you're vulnerable, where you're going through something, and they figured, okay, it's safe now, because she won't run. She'll just listen to me. She'll just tolerate me because she needs me right now. But they do expose themselves. So pay attention to how they're treating other people. And it's not just in romantic relationships, how they treat their parents, how they treat their siblings, how they treat the children of their mother, how they treat their coworkers. I remember my former relationship with a narcissist. I saw how he used to bully his coworkers, how he was very aggressive towards his coworkers. And I had seen it since the beginning, but I ignored it, right? And it wasn't until towards the end of the relationship I remember saying to him, if we were not married, I wouldn't be your friend. And it's so good that I said that. It wasn't planned, but I was just being honest with him with his behavior. And I remember later that day thinking to myself, like, Nailah, if you can say that, then this is not the person for you. If you wouldn't even be friends with this person, how can you be married to them? Right? So pay attention to how they're treating other people. Now, there's one bonus I want to share with you, because while all of these are red flags that you will eventually see in toxic people, narcissistic people, to know, to spot it and go in the opposite direction, there's a general rule of thumb that if you follow this, even this alone, this will save you. So if you're in a relationship right now, you're questioning, is it toxic or narcissistic? Is it good for me? If you are out of a relationship right now and you're wondering, like, how do I spot red flags the next time I do decide to date, this right here, this last point I'm going to give you is going to be the general rule of thumb that will save you from ever being stuck in another toxic and narcissistic relationship. And that is asking yourself, is their behavior healthy for me? Is it healthy for me? So you're not thinking, are they toxic? Are they narcissistic? Are they sociopath? You're not trying to answer any of those questions. You're simply, are they good or bad? Because a lot of times we're trying to judge, is this a good person? But they are good, so maybe I should try. That's not your place to label someone as good or bad. When we're choosing to be in a relationship with someone, we have to ask ourselves, are they healthy for me? Okay? And if not, is their behavior healthy for me? Right? Because someone can be a good person, right? But maybe their behavior is not healthy for you. The way that they treat you, what they consider normal, is not healthy. One of the things I realize in culture, sometimes we accept things because of culture. I was looking at I'm laughing, but it's really not funny. I was looking at a skit, like a reel on maybe Facebook last night. And there's this, forgive me because I don't know all these trendy terms, but there's like these little skits that people do, right? That everyone kind of repeats it. So there's a skit that people do where they're pretending to interview their mother, and they start to talk about how they started off from hard beginnings and how the mother sacrificed for them and, did their best and got them to where they are now, pretty much kind of, I'm giving thanks to their mother on this interview. But then they kind of flip the script and say, yeah, my mother had to prostitute for it. And of course the mother wasn't a prostitute, but they do it to kind of trigger the mother. And, the mother goes from smiling and saying, yes, I did my best with my kids, to saying, what? I wasn't a prostitute, right? So I've seen it a few times. So this one I looked at last night, the guy did it. And the mother, yes, she got shocked when he got to the point about talking about how my mom had to prostitute to support me. But she started cursing, right? And she started calling him, you black ASS. You black, this is a black family. And you black ASS, you black MF, right? Now, I know, I lived in certain environments where I know it is very normal and acceptable to call someone you black MF or you black ASS. Right? Even if it's being said jokingly, right? However, I find it quite disturbing, right? Because it's not being said in an uplifting way, like you beautiful dark-skinned person. It's being said in a very derogatory and a demeaning way, right? And I'm giving that example because sometimes we accept things because of culture, right? Don't be afraid to be different than the people around you. And then you might need to start considering finding a new group of people around you. I remember in high school, this young girl, we were all young at the time, so we were at the same age, and she was talking to me about her boyfriend. In arguments, her boyfriend would say, you black MF sometimes, or you black ASS sometimes, right? And it wasn't a big deal to her. She didn't like it, of course, but she didn't want to make too big of a deal of it, because in that neighborhood where we were in high school, in a hood, it was pretty normal to say that. Whether you say it jokingly or in an argument, it was normal, right? But as I got older and I started to develop, I realized that should have been actually an absolute non-negotiable. Like, we need to have the things that we are willing to work around with someone and the things that are completely non-negotiable. That's a non-negotiable. At no time should someone call you derogatory names, right? So don't let culture cause you to accept something that you know is not right. Even if everyone around you is saying it's no big deal. If it's a big deal to you, then you need to make it a big deal, and you need to have your non-negotiables. Okay? And be okay with people not understanding you, because guess what? There's other groups of people in the world that would actually agree with you. Okay? So going back to that last point, like I said, that's the general rule of thumb that will help you to spot red flags in a man. Is their behavior healthy for me or not? Right? The way that they talk to me, the way that they treat me, the way that they behave with other people, is it healthy for me or not? And again, there are some things that can be worked around, right? You can try with, and then there are some things that's completely non-negotiable. So regarding the things that you can try to work around, and when I say work around, not accept it, but at least present it to them that, hey, I see this. I know maybe this is normal for you, but this is uncomfortable for me. I don't think it's healthy for me. Maybe it's not even healthy for them, right? So if not, you present that to them and then see if they are comfortable adjusting that trait in them to make it a more healthy environment for you and for themselves, right? Again, none of us are perfect, so there are some things that maybe have been normal in the way people are raised, the environment they're raised, the family that they're raised around. There's a difference though, and you pay attention to this, there's a difference between people who are all about developing and growth, and then there's people who are fully comfortable in who they are and have no intention in growing. And then there's people who pretend that they want to grow, but they only do that to keep you around. So you have to keep your eyes open. Okay? But that is a general rule of thumb. Is this person healthy for me or not? Is their behavior healthy for me or not? Even if they're a good person, but are they healthy for me? Okay? That you have to keep you first place, right? That doesn't make you bad. That doesn't make you selfish. That makes you wise. And again, if there's certain behaviors that you don't agree with, that is not a non-negotiable, not saying you got to run. Right? There's certain things you're willing to work around. Present it to them and give them the opportunity to develop themselves in the same way that you would want an opportunity to develop yourself in certain areas where you still need to grow. I hope that this was helpful for you. Again, if you want to go deeper into how to spot red flags, how to identify red flags, how to maintain boundaries, how to maintain no contact, how even to go no contact at first. These are all different master classes that I have inside of my community called Thrive. It's an exclusive community for women. Whether you're in a toxic relationship still, you want to get out, right? You don't have to do it alone. You have a safe space in Thrive. Or if you've been out a while, and you're still struggling, you still feel stuck mentally, right? You're still holding on to the anger, to the betrayal. It's still hard for you to trust. These are all normal phases. Breaking up from a toxic and narcissistic relationship is not a normal breakup, okay? Unfortunately, it's not a normal breakup. There's a lot of aftermath. So getting out is climbing up one hill, but dealing with the aftermath is a whole nother hill to climb over. And unfortunately, some people get stuck in the valley because they're not able to work through the aftermath. So if you're looking for support in that area, you don't want to waste time, waste years of your life. You already had years in the relationship. You don't want to spend more years, still being mentally stuck. You can go ahead and comment Thrive, THRIVE, to join my community, or at least to get some information if you just want to look at it and see what it's about. And just know my DMs are also always open if you have any questions. I hope that this was helpful for you. Let me just look at the comments here. All right, Tammy, I see you started following a few weeks ago. Oh, I'm sorry. 12 years. Yes. All right, Tammy, I see you. I got you. All right. Welcome. If you're just coming in, welcome. We're ending here though. Feel free to catch the replay. The replay will be up. If you are into YouTube, I also post my replays on YouTube, so you can check me out there. And I will see you next time. And I'm going to continue doing these. For those of you who are not new to me, Wisdom Wednesday is something I used to do a lot before. I had a son a year ago. So adjusting to having 2 children, having a baby, but I'm back with my Wisdom Wednesday. So we're either going to do them during the day here, or we'll be doing them at night. But we will continue with our Wisdom Wednesday. So keep your notification bell set. I'm gonna try to do, I'm not sure yet. Let me know if you prefer afternoons or nights. I'm not sure. But anyway, you guys have a rest of the good day. And you're welcome, Tammy. You're welcome. I'll see you soon.